Hello and welcome back to another Viva Film quick review. This time we're talking about the new film Disclosure Day. I just got back from it. Literally got out of my showing less than 30 minutes ago. Already here sitting down with you guys talking about it. But we got Disclosure Day, which of course is directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, and Wyatt Russell. And this has been a pretty I don't know if I would say highly anticipated, but I do think people have been interested in it because the marketing really doesn't give a ton away. Except for a little closer to release, there was one thing that they put out that I think they shouldn't have put out. I think that was a huge mistake. And so I actually can't talk about a lot of the details of the plot of this movie because I don't want to spoil it. I think you should go watch it for yourself. Go with your own opinions. I don't want to I don't want to ruin the experience for anybody. But what I will say for this film is I think the concept is really interesting. And I do think that Spielberg was obviously like a great director for this. I think that while I did find that the plot could be a little, I wouldn't use the word boring, but there were definitely moments where I was like large stretches of the film where I was kind of like didn't feel as engaged with what was happening. And then suddenly the movie slaps you in the face and reminds you that Spielberg's like one of the best filmmakers of all time. So that was really good. Like there's some incredible like chase sequences, action sequences in the movie that are really well done. There's a ton of creativity in this movie where there were like these little moments where I was like, that's really creative, or that's really clever, or that's really smart. And I really liked that. Like I thought that there were some really strong elements like that. Just like thinking about them right now, like these little details where I was like, that actually makes this movie really work. And there's a lot that doesn't. Like I think that the themes in this movie, I think I get what the movie was saying overall, and I can't say what the movie was trying to say, but I do think is interesting, and I would even say it's good. But like what I did wish that they kind of ironed things out a little bit more to make things a little bit more, I think, tense or at least interesting, maybe a little more philosophical. Like a lot of the marketing for this movie does touch on like the religious themes that get presented, and honestly, I feel like most of the religious themes are brought up in the marketing. And I thought it would have been really interesting to have that be more of a through line throughout the film, where as opposed to it's just kind of an element for just one character. And like my thing with the characters in this movie is like I think Emily Blunt does a phenomenal job. For example, I think she's probably the best character in the movie. She was an amazing performance, gets to give a super ranged performance, and I was really impressed with that. But there are characters like I found Colin Firth's character. I think that like there are moments where he gives a read or he'll like do a little thing with his performance where I go, oh, that's interesting, and it makes me kind of think in my head. I'm like, I wish that they kind of did a little bit more with that, or went more that angle with his character, because I never really found him, I guess, as interesting or as threatening as I wanted to. And I think that and he's a phenomenal actor, so I guess I wish that there was just a little bit more with that. I think Josh O'Connor is great. I think his character is really also like pretty interesting, and he's on a great run right now. Like that dude's an incredible actor. I always love seeing him and stuff. But I will say I think Emily Blunt definitely steals the show. I think Wyatt Russell does a really obviously good job, and there is like a really great cast. And Coleman Domingo does a great job too. Like I think that's one of those actors where like he gets to do a monologue in this movie where you're like that's why you're in this. That's why you cast Coleman Domingo. He's one of the best. Um, but I don't know. I just wanted more from this movie. I guess I just like I feel, especially with its runtime being almost 2.5 hours long. I guess I wanted things to just be slightly more, I guess, flushed out. I would have liked things to be a little more focused in certain places. It does feel like a real movie, and it's a real movie that people are clearly interested in seeing. Because like my theater wasn't like packed, but it did have like 25, 30 people in it, so like that's pretty cool. And I don't know. I just like it just left me feeling a little bit. I really wanted to like this a lot more than I did. I really loved like The Fablemans, Spielberg's last movie. I think is like one of his best movies. I don't know if that's controversial, but I also just I don't know. I just wanted more from this, and it's hard to really get into every feeling I have without spoiling the entire thing. But again, and also the overall plot of this movie with what it's going for by the end of the movie, it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite pieces of media ever. And I can't say what it is, or you'll know exactly what happens in this movie if I say what it is. Um, but so that was really interesting, and that was like one of the first things I thought of, as the movie kept progressing. And I don't know. I guess I just I don't know. This movie left me just wanting just a little bit more from it. I would have, even though I do think again, I think this is a pretty good movie. It's really well made. Has some really great set pieces in it and some good performances. Really interesting ideas that I wish were fleshed out more. And a lot of creativity. Like there were a couple moments where I was like, "Ooh, that's what you get from a Spielberg movie." Really like that. And yeah, and I will say this is at the beginning of the movie, the way this movie opens, I was shocked by the opening of this movie. I did not realize it was going to tie in so much to the upcoming series me and Anthony are doing with Viva Film. And I mean, yeah, what else can you say? It was cool to see him in the movie. The person I'm thinking of. So that was fun. But yeah, Disclosure Day. I think it is a well-made film, but I think that I think it could be I think it's a good movie that could have been a really great movie, but just like a few tweaks. Like there's so much, even more potential in there than we saw. I think you could have really done some cooler shit with it. But hey, I thought it was good. It's Spielberg movie, so you know that you're gonna at least have somewhat of a good time, unless it's Ready Player One. Yeah, that was Disclosure Day. So please, please subscribe.